If you are watching this version of Provide TV, PETN's local Teaneck channel, it is most likely on our YouTube channel. For the best viewing experience, watch on a computer.
Hi, I'm Janice from Helping Hands Food Pantry, and you're watching Meet the Farmer TV.
Next on Meet the Farmer TV, we'll connect the dots of a local food system from a food pantry perspective.
It was important to have members of the community be able to access fresh vegetables for everyone. So in preparing the garden, I met Reggie, and we decided that we would have a single plot, and we would dedicate that plot and all the vegetables that come from that plot to the Helping Hands Food Pantry of the Township of Teaneck.
Since the first seeds were planted literally, like it was always part of our mission that anything that grew here was going to go to the food Helping Hand and other food pantries, that we have years of history of collecting food, you know, food drives, canned goods, things like that.
Here we are at the Teaneck Community Gardens, where we grow food for the Helping Hands Food Pantry. Let me show you around. I'm going to show you first what my garden is. No, the Helping Hands Food Pantry garden. I call all of it mine. All right, okay. This is like a 16 by 16 plot, and there's 100 of them out here. From the farm to the plate. You've seen it grow, you know what it looks like, and you can smell it, and pretty soon you'll be able to taste it. My man, okay.
So for those who don't know about the Teaneck International Film Festival, it's now entering its 12th year. The festival takes place over the course of 4 days, the first weekend in November. This year it'll be November 2nd to the 5th. We utilize multiple venues throughout Teaneck, including the Teaneck Cinema, which is one of the most famous and oldest theaters that has recently been remodeled and has state-of-the-art sound and seating. The festival itself is a social activist festival. We're a project of the Puffin. So we show films to engage our community on topics that we feel are important for Teaneck as well as the greater community. We are a project of the Puffin Foundation, and their mission has always been to support artists who have been marginalized because of their gender, race, religion, ideology. So TIFF aligns with that mission, and this year, you know, in particular, every year we go in on all the issues according to what's happening in the country and globally. So we try to present films that really, you know, tell the story about what's going on and have the filmmakers present, as well as the actors and production crew, to have really engaging and inspiring talkbacks. And, you know, our theme is always activism, making change. So we're always trying to affect positive change in our community and bring people from all the diverse areas within this county, within this area, together and have a place where they can come and see great films and access it at a very, very moderate price.
I'm Jackie Wilson, Teaneck resident and Teaneck businesswoman extraordinaire, and you're watching Teaneck Local Channel on Provide TV. What makes the Wilson Life Skills Institute different than any other institute is that we teach life skills that are actually needed for on the job. A lot of times what happens when people come on jobs, they don't know how to communicate properly. They do not know how to communicate with their peers. People don't know how to speak to their manager about a promotion, how to negotiate. Some people want to be managers and they don't have any of the skills. So what our institute does is teach all of those skills, from communication skills to goal setting, leadership skills, influential skills, management, contact center management, customer service, things like that. We also have programs for those who are newly returning to society. That's our prison reentry program, which is very, very near and dear to my heart. And with that particular program, what we do is we help people who are formerly incarcerated to come out into society with skills that they need. If they're looking for a job, we're able to help them find a job. I have a list of employers that hire ex-felons. So that is absolutely huge. But if I can train them to get onto the job with the skills that they need for that job, I think they come out a lot better. And I'm not talking about jobs where they're going to be a dishwasher or mowing lawns. I'm talking about real jobs where you can earn a substantial amount of money. Now, what also makes us unique is that we're a community-based organization. We're a non-for-profit, and we're a non-for-profit faith-based educational institute where we teach some skills, and not only in life skills, but also in kingdom studies, because spirituality is very, very important, and a lot of people don't have or don't know or may want to know what's going on with the kingdom, what is going on with God. So we teach those things as well to make a person rounded.
So the Teaneck Chamber of Commerce is really excited about some of the things that are going on in town. Obviously, businesses slowly starting to come back. We're seeing more people opening up businesses, getting more involved, people coming out to be able to be doing things in Teaneck. And we're also supporting an incredible organization in Do Wonders Foundation. It's an organization that is it's a group that helps women that are dealing with cancer. We know that our hair is part of our identity, and for women that don't have hair because of chemo treatments, Do Wonders is providing wigs that to women that cannot afford them, they're getting them. So it's a great opportunity for people to do things. The Chamber is also really excited that we were able to bring WFDU, the independent, and Provide TV, Teaneck's local network, to be able to team up, be part of the media program for the Chamber, to be able to get our information out more, and to be able to help business in general, be able to help everybody get the news out, get the word out, be able to go from there and be able to really make Teaneck the destination city that we know that it is. We're also working with Heritage Tourism to be able to drive more people into Teaneck, to be able to really showcase, like the bridge that saved the nation on New Bridge Road. It's a treasure that we just didn't know, that so many people didn't know about, and it's a way that we're able to continue bringing that out. And we love the fact that we were able to get the 3 media outlets to come together in a local manner to be able to really get the information out there in a way that's going to help everybody. If you want to reach out to the Chamber, you can certainly go on our website, teaneckchamber.org, our Facebook page, facebook.com/TeaneckCoc, or you can call us at 201-801-0012.
So what is different this year? I think, last year was a political year for us. We took place the weekend before the presidential election. So obviously with everything that was going on, we felt a need to talk about all the issues that were being discussed: immigration, gun reform, healthcare, the list goes on and on. And it was, I think a year that for many was very emotional, very challenging, difficult in its own ways. And we're still continuing with that theme, but I think what's different this year is we want to bring also a lot of lighter fare to the festival, because it doesn't always have to be hit you over your head activism, right? We get that all the time, and people also kind of want a place where they can go and see things that are positive, happy things, and have a place to celebrate. So we're really trying this year in an effort to kind of amp up, a lot of the very positive features and docs and bring in stuff that, I think is a little different from what our audience is maybe used to seeing, and balance that out too, with some other, I guess, social activist fare as well.
Hi, this is Eva Tobias, Teaneck International Film Festival co-chair for marketing and development, and here I am on Teaneck's own internet TV, providetv.com/Teaneck, New Jersey, a brand new method of getting information to the people of the community. Hi, here we are on a rainy day in Teaneck. Looking forward to a wonderful day in Teaneck in November. Well, actually 5 wonderful days in November, where the Teaneck International Film Festival will present incredible films, documentaries, and as we were called, we are the conscience of the film festivals in New Jersey. We bring to you things that you will not see in movie theaters. We bring to you talkbacks, meeting with special people, and actually it is a treasure, a jewel. We invite everyone in Bergen County and New York City, where we get plenty of people coming to this festival that is special. Look us up at Teaneck International Film Festival on the internet. It'll show you what we've done in the past 12 years and who we've had in our studios and who we've met. And we invite you to join us for a very special time. What's important to us about the film festival is that we brought together community. We bring people together from all different ethnicities. We bring together the LGBT community. We bring together anyone who's fighting for their rights. Anyone who's fighting for their rights is fighting very hard at this time in our national history. So it's a very important thing to get movies, facts out there, and to draw a community that is strong. Please join us and be part of our strong community.
You're watching Meet the Farmer TV.
Coming up next on Meet the Farmer TV.
Hello, I'm the mayor of Teaneck, and I'd like to welcome you to Teaneck Farmers Market, where food is the common denominator.
Welcome to the Teaneck Farmers Market. Having this market for over 15 years, 17 years, 18 years, we've brought it to the longevity of the community, always having it during the summer and making it a destination in Bergen County. And several times during my years here, we've been cited from the Jewish Standard as one of the best in Bergen County, at least twice that I know of. And that's during my reign.
This program is a production of Meet the Farmer TV, LLC, in association with Planet Earth Diversified, Melly Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design.
Farmers markets are important for the community because A, they support the farmers, and it also gives an opportunity for people to have fresh produce and fresh food. And I think that it's important for local communities to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables because it's a proven fact that people will make better food choices if they are easily accessible. I think that the Teaneck Farmers Market is also very unique in that it provides a sense of community where people are able to gather and learn about all of the local produce that we have here and all the farms that we have locally in New Jersey. I'm a social worker in addition to being the mayor of Teaneck, and I work for the Bergen County Board of Social Services where we administer the food stamp program. And in some jurisdictions, they do offer vouchers for seniors so that they have an opportunity to come out and try the fresh food. I think that it's a wonderful opportunity. I think it's an opportunity for the government to provide access for people who may not normally come out and visit a venue such as this. I think that it's something that we need to do more and that we need to encourage more so that people will learn the benefits of healthy eating and so they'll live longer, healthier lives. One of the initiatives that we've been trying to push in Teaneck is a Let's Move initiative, which is Michelle Obama's national initiative for childhood obesity. And one of the barriers that people have is the access to affordable, healthy food. So I think that in providing these incentives, that it allows an opportunity for people who may not normally be able to afford it to have access to healthier food. I think unfortunately it's like a catch-22. So if you buy more expensive, healthier foods, it sustains your life. However, you have to have the resources to be able to do so. So I think that it's education. I think that we need to educate the community on the benefits of eating farm fresh, healthy food. But I also think, again, that we need to do more to find resources so that people who aren't able to afford it can have access. Because I think it's a shame to not be able to eat healthy food because you can't afford it. I think specifically for what I've experienced at this farmers market, Teaneck is a unique community, as you know, a very diverse community, and it provides a platform for groups, different varying groups from different backgrounds to come together with a common goal, which is healthier lifestyle and healthier eating. And it's an initiative that I've supported since I've been on the council, and I look forward to supporting it in future. And again, I welcome anyone who would be interested in providing opportunities for students, seniors who don't have access to food to please contact me so that we can partner together and widen this spectrum. I invite you to come. We're here every Thursday from 12 to 6. It's a wonderful opportunity. You have the opportunity to get fresh produce, homemade meals, homemade pickles, homemade honey. Just come on out and see what Teaneck Farmers Market has to offer.
So some of the local issues, the Teaneck Girl Scout troop a couple of years ago made a documentary to ban plastic bags and make Teaneck one of the first towns in this state to be plastic bag free. And they did a documentary short, which we showed. And that was their kind of first push in this process to have the township vote to make a change. And over the years, we've seen them start to petition the town council. And on July 11th, a vote is going to take place on whether or not to pass this ordinance, which would make Teaneck one of the first towns in the state to be plastic bag free. And it shows, you know, how these girls, these young troop, really have made an impact in their community, and shows them, you know, that they can make a change, and a positive change to benefit the environment, and hopefully show that Teaneck is leading the way in the environment, similar to states like California who have already done that. And hopefully that will, you know, lead into the state passing a similar resolution. So they go to a store, and now they either have to bring their own recyclable bags, or if they forget a bag, there may be a charge if they want to purchase, you know, a plastic bag, or if the bags are completely banned, they can use paper bags, which are much more environmentally friendly. So, you know, we see that this will have an impact within the community, and that for us, you know, when we see our youth affecting a positive change and seeing the films that we do affect positive change, that's what really makes it worth it. And I think that's what's so unique and great about Teaneck. It's a really unique town to live in.
what is the real cost of education versus incarceration? There are studies out there that have been done where the price of incarceration is way more than the price of an education in school or even daycare. Daycare on a low end is around $500 for one child per week. Now, when we're talking about incarceration, it's about $24,000 per person. So, what would per year. So when we talk about the price of incarceration, I'd rather spend my dollars educating someone so that they're not going on that path to incarceration than to spend it with them being incarcerated where they're not getting any rehabilitative or educational skills from the local government, because all of those things were cut out. There was a time when you were incarcerated, there were educational programs that were brought into the prisons and to the jails. But because of budget constraints, all of that has been cut out. So they're relying on people and organizations to come in to help them fill that void and gap in education. So that's where I come in. When we look at the educational system and after-school programs and daycare and incarceration, I look at different countries, and one country in particular was China. Because in that country, their kids study 10 hours per day. So from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, they're in school. As opposed to over here in the United States, where we're in school from like 7 till 2. And depending on what grade you're in, it gets less and less. Now, if you have a daycare program, programs are usually in the morning, or they'll be in the afternoon for maybe 2 or 3 hours. But when we look at other countries and how they value the education, and what we look at education over here is vastly different, and you can see why. Now, that's not to say that they have more or less people that are incarcerated in the Asian region, but I'm just saying when we look at who is doing what in society, in what areas, we can see that we are far behind that particular country. And that's just one example. So I'm not sure if a daycare is going to help. I'm not sure if after-school programs are going to help. But I do know that if you're in school a lot longer, you get into less trouble.
What's so important about the film festival is the sense that it brings our community together. So there's a platform for people to come out and have a weekend where they can meet their neighbors and meet people over topics that are important to be discussed. And I think it brings people together where there's a great sense of solidarity, and that's something I think that's really unique, that there's a disconnect in other places. When you live in a big city, when you live in certain towns, you don't, everyone stays in their little group and you don't get to mix. And I think the great thing about this festival is it's truly a community effort. It's run by volunteers. It's an engine for, our economics, our stores, our Chamber of Commerce, and it brings people here, and it also, helps to tell these stories that need to be told. So it's a win-win, and I think that's what's so special about it, and that's why we keep coming back year after year. Is we see all the positive feedback of the people that come out, the way they've been able to impact change, the stories that get told, tears are shed, people laugh, people cry. But it really, truly is something that people look forward to the whole year.
We only have 2 farmers, but the other participants are the gourmet vendors, and with a busy life schedule of families, they can pick up something to eat and it'll be ready for them in minutes instead of hours, and people like to it's fun to see the pickles pickles with the little kids, like a year and a half, 2 years, sucking on a stick with a pickle. It's like adorable. We have Mo Green juices. I thought perhaps because it's people are so health conscious, and they kind of get those little veggie blenders. I saw them at another market, and I said, gee, this would be nice. So they make small bottles and a little bit larger bottles of what is cold pressed juice.
I think it's great for people to support local businesses and stuff, and farmers markets are a great place to get good quality food for cheap. And I mean, yeah, you're supporting local businesses. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? And the vendors understand. Like, we all support each other and stuff. It's great. And it's not like walking into a supermarket and seeing people you don't know. You see the same faces each week. It's good. I like it a lot. And we usually end up getting vegetables from the same farmers that are at the market, so it works out for us. Mo Green juice, raw, healthy, real. We don't use any preservatives, no sugar, no water. It's got about 10 different vegetables in it. It's all cold pressed. So you're getting the highest nutritional value you can get. Even if you were to cook the vegetables, you're not going to get anything near that. It's about 8 salads and 1 drink. You really can't ask for more than that. And our owner knows what she's doing. She's a nutritionist. She's studied that extensively. She knows. And if you do it, you'll feel better, you'll feel great, and you'll see results. A lot of juice companies or juice people that actually make the juicers these days make these claims about, I mean, some of them you might as well just buy a blender. I mean, that's all you're getting. They try to distinguish themselves as something new, something that really, anything that's chopping or heating up with, besides really, because what cold press does is it really squeezes out all the juice and all the good stuff, almost as if you were to chew it. So it breaks down things for you so that it goes right into your system and is easily absorbed. But some of the other juicers and stuff, it's kind of a scam, and you might as well use a blender. But it's still healthy. I mean, you're getting your vegetables, you're getting your greens. I mean, any juicing is still good in my book. So we do have a website. It's mogreenjuice.com. We have plenty of information on there. We also have a Facebook page. Feel free to like us. And yeah, you'll really see how our owner, well, my owner, she's really on a mission to spread the whole juicing trend.
What we are doing is different, and I think it's different from other film festivals because we are a social activist film festival. Our theme is activism making change. So unlike film festivals that are taking shape in all these different towns, most of them are also very corporate. We have strived to want to remain small in the sense that we're truly grassroots. We don't want it to be an industry-only event. We want our festival to be participated by our residents, by people, by the children, so that it is accessible. Ticket prices are kept low, it's super affordable, the quality of film programming is the highest level, so it's something that, you know, is really there for the community, and filmmakers love it because they're able to get their films out to the people that they're making it for. When they're going to other film festivals, much of it is about industry and, you know, that whole corporate thing that's getting, you know, played out in the circuit. But I think what's really great about TIFF is that we're able to, you know, keep it community-based.
Oh, and then we have NewJerseyBees.com, and the owner Danny Center is a beekeeper, and he has hives in this area, and I think upstate New York, and he I don't know what the expression is. I guess he gathers the honey, has been making products for about 2 years.
My name is Raymond R. Ahrens. I live in Teaneck, New Jersey, and I am a new training bee rescuer, and I'm happy to be here on Meet the Farmer TV.
I'm a beekeeper in Bergen County, Woodridge, New York, and also Eldred, New York, and one of the amazing things that I found, I'm beekeeping for a couple of years now, one of the amazing things I found is there's a huge population of feral hives. What feral means are honeybees are not indigenous to Teaneck, they're not indigenous to New Jersey for that matter, they're not even indigenous to the entire United States, they're actually originally from Europe. They were brought here, and some of the bees that were brought here escaped into the wild. That's called a feral beehive. That's a hive that exists on its own. And while in the United States and in other countries as well, we're suffering from terrible colony collapse disorder, where bees are dying in record numbers, I found that the feral population in Bergen County was uniquely strong. So what we've been working on over the past few years is capturing some of those feral hives. We get called by people, they're in their homes, they're in a tree in their house, and we take that hive and we hive that ourselves back and bring back that genetics which has been surviving on its own for all these years, and hopefully that will help us address the concern of colony collapse disorder and the terrible blight we're having with our honeybees. So colony collapse disorder is somewhat of a mystery. They're not certain. There are a number of factors. The most probable one is the use of insecticides. The bees very often will forage and they'll think they're collecting pollen, and in fact they're collecting a dust pesticide. They bring that back to the colony, and that could, as it says, collapse the entire colony. They'll feed that to their developing brood, and that will result in the death of the entire colony. There are other problems that we have. There are some pests. There's a varroa mite. There's a small hive beetle. There's a hive moth. And all of those pests have also contributed to colony collapse disorder. And it's just in general the awareness and people getting involved and taking and recognizing the serious danger to not only our honey and our bees, but to the general foods, to our general food supply, because bees dramatically affect the amount of food that we'll have available, because without their ability to pollinate, and they are by far the best pollinators, honeybees, without their assistance we would have far less produce. There are some things that would completely disappear. Honeybees are, as I had mentioned, are wonderful, wonderful pollinators. And the other thing unique about a honeybee, many bees, there are a lot of bees that are good pollinators. For example, bumblebees, which are indigenous to the United States, are wonderful pollinators. The problem is a bumblebee hive, a large hive, will be a few hundred bees. Honeybees, a large hive is 80,000 bees. So just by simple numbers, if honeybees are wonderful, wonderful pollinators. So what that means is for the average farmer, if I'm growing, let's say, apples, and apples are not solely pollinated by insects, but primarily pollinated by insects. So if I have apple trees and I don't have those honeybees, I'm not going to have the insects visiting flower to flower, from flower to flower, and thereby pollinating all the flowers. So my only choice, if I really have a shortage of bees, is one, ship in bees from other places, which is what California does for their almond crops. And their almond crops have become totally dependent on bringing in, they ship in thousands upon thousands of hives on a yearly basis. But that, or the other option, which China has done in some cases, is they actually get human beings to go in and actually take the place, work with little paintbrushes, climb up on the trees. And the reason why they do that is the bees can't survive. It's become a toxic environment for the bees. And that's an indication. They're more sensitive than we are. But if there are toxins that are killing our bees, they will eventually and ultimately kill us. I think to begin with, one of the most important things that people should realize is not everything that buzzes is a bee. Our honeybees and many of our bees have gotten a bad rap from wasps and hornets and other stinging insects. Honeybees, and this is very, very important for people to understand, honeybees are really not a nuisance. Unless you approach the hive, they generally will leave you alone. If you're working in your flower bed and there are honeybees there, they're going to move out of your way. So the one very important thing for people to understand, whether you live in a farm area or you live in a big city, if there are honeybees around, they're only there for our benefit and in no way will negatively impact your life. The easiest way to tell the difference between a honeybee and a wasp or hornets is wasps and hornets are smooth. Their exterior is smooth. Honeybees actually have a hairy exterior, which looks almost like fur. That's actually to store the pollen, to collect the pollen, which they then store on their hind legs. But just as a quick glance, a wasp or hornet is shiny and bright in color. A honeybee is a more dull in appearance. Often I am called, and we certainly don't mind this, beekeepers are called on either on the telephone. Today they can send us pictures and videos where they'll say, I've got a hive. It's in the tree near my house. It's on my siding. Is this honeybees? Is it not honeybees? And we often and very easily can distinguish and determine whether it's honeybees that they have or another type of pest that could be negatively affecting them. So as I had mentioned, the bees that we keep are what I would describe as Bergen County bees. Majority of the queens, and the genetics of the hive is totally determined by the queen. Because if I would replace a queen in a hive, in 6 weeks, all the bees in that hive would be her offspring. So the queens in our hive are all feral queens that have been taken from the wild. But my assumption, based on the historical information that I can get, the beekeepers that kept bees here 150, 200 years ago, they had started with Italian honeybees. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean, Italian honeybees? It's not that they have a passport from Italy. What Italian honeybees, that was a strain of bees. There are bees that are from, there were Russian honeybees. Everybody's heard of the infamous Africanized honeybee, which is just an aggressive honeybee and not one which serves good purpose in collecting honey and working with beekeepers to collect honey. They're not aggressive that they're going to kill anybody. But the bees that we keep most of them are descendants of Italian bees that were brought here from Italy. They had noticed when they were collecting bees that these bees were particularly gentle. They were easy to work with. They kept large stores. They cut down their total population during the winter, which made them easier to manage. They wintered very well in the cold weather. They wintered very well. And the difference now between our bees and what you'd call, I guess, regular honeybees that very often people buy from Georgia, they get them from Georgia, they could get them from California, and those bees are Italians that have been bred in Georgia or somewhere else. Our bees are bees that had escaped into the wild probably about 100 years ago and have bred one bee with the other in a wild environment, and through just genetic selection, natural genetic selection, the strongest of those bees have survived. Question one might ask is, what difference does that make to my honey? I've never seen on a honey label, these were produced by honeybees from Italy or honeybees from Russia or from Africa for that matter. And the answer is it would make zero difference. The bees, regardless of what variety of honeybees that you have, the type of honey they produce is more a response to the flora that they collected, the nectar that they collected, but the honey itself will be the same. The difference is to the survival of the colony and the honeybee health as a whole. And now I would like to introduce you to somebody very special, and I'd like to have Ray join me. Many people ask, could I be a honey beekeeper? Could I be a beekeeper? Is it something that I could do? And that's another important thing. You're beekeepers. We're not really bee farmers. Even though this is Farmer TV, we're not true farmers, because all you could do as a beekeeper is keep the bees, because the bees sort of do their own thing. But very often people ask me, I live in a small house, I don't have that much room, can I be a beekeeper? Am I too old? Does it take up too much time? Well, Ray is one of my students. I don't have that many, I've got a couple of them. But Ray's a great example. He jumped right in. He's a couple of years older than me. He's been an absolutely fantastic student. He's worked very hard at the craft. This year he has one hive. I believe in the future he'll add to that. He's been with me on many rescues. He's excellent at what he does. His bees are doing fantastic, and I'm looking forward to working with him many years. He's a fantastic asset to the craft.
Let me first make it clear. I am in training. I am not a full-fledged beekeeping rescuer. I'm being mentored by Daniel Center, who is the beekeeping person of NewJerseyBees.com. He has been making rescues for years in Teaneck. He's got at least 7 years under his belt in beekeeping. I have only 6 months. I bought my bees in April, and now I started out with 6,000 bees. I picked them up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and I drove them home like they were eggs. I love them so much. They're all females mostly. There's a few drones, but 99% are females, and they're predominantly what's called immature females. They've never been mated at all. They spend their time in that box. It's about a square box. They are also, the queen is at the bottom in a little cage, and they love her. They smell her pheromone. Each bee has a specific pheromone that essentially describes what its job will be when it gets into the hive. There's 12 particular jobs, including sweepers, cleaners of the hive, making sure that the hexagon is properly hexed, because she will not lay in a hexagon that has not been formed properly. They also are nurses, morticians, and they work in the dark. In the dark. Now, can you imagine? They work in the dark. Now, these bees last approximately 3 weeks. That's their lifespan. That's the female bee. The drones last about 6 weeks. The queen can go to 2 years. The queen on an average day will lay 1,000 eggs per day. So when I started out with my 6,000 bees in my hive, which we put in from Wilkes-Barre, and Daniel Center, my mentor, helped me put them into the hive by opening the frame, and then we dropped them in, dropped the queen in. Currently at this moment, we are now into the month of August. I think, from my best estimate, I have 50,000 bees. I will not be able to get my honey this year because you give it to the bees and let them, they will produce 200 pounds of honey in their boxes that look very much like this. Each one of these boxes produces 200 pounds of honey. This is usually used to keep them, to feed the bees. And you put sugar water, 1-to-1 ratio. I usually put 25 pounds of sugar and 25 pounds of water into the honey, into the mixture, and I mix it up like a brew. And then I put it into quart containers that look very much like a one of those bell jars, and turn it upside down, and they automatically expend their whole, they go up there, they work 22 hours a day, they get 2 hours off, they go up to the penthouse, and they have a little bit of they drink a little bit. Honey that, sweet sugar honey, sweet sugar that they didn't have to go and hustle for. Now, with regard to bee rescues are very important. Number one, when a bee swarms, a whole colony leaves. It's a big, 50,000 will get out of somewhere because they've got no more room. They're not leaving on purpose. Their home is either being bothered, but they leave and they go. Danny gets a call from the police department in Teaneck because they call the Teaneck Police Department. The police department called Danny. Danny calls me, and I come along to help out. That's what I'm learning how to do. And we had 3 rescues this month. One was at the police department, where they themselves found that a whole swarm, 50,000 bees, had moved into one of their lights in their cruisers. So we use ways of which you basically vacuum them out. Then you put a pail like this, you vacuum them out. You have 2 pails, one is the vacuum and one sucks them into there. Then you put the top on and you put a screen over it and push it down, and it's completely sealed. Now the bees are in there, maybe 30, if the 50,000, 10,000 bees are in there. Now, we then take those and put that on top of the cruiser. And guess what? If we got the queen in there, which is typical, we'll end up having all the bees moving from the location that they were in and jump on top of this thing because they want to be with their buddies, their girlfriends, the queen. We then take these and put them in what's called a hive after we get all of them out. And we usually get we need three buckets full. And put them in a hive and then bring them back to our own hives. So we have a new hive and they have a new home with a lot of room, a lot of space, and they're very happy.
Bee rescue.
It's a bee rescue. And we took them from a police department light to a apiary, which is called a bunch of hives.
Part of the founding of the film festival was to help reinvigorate our main streets, our downtowns, Cedar Lane, Teaneck Road, the Plaza area. You know, main streets are struggling today, and in New Jersey in particular we're competing with the giant shopping malls where everyone's going, and now multiplied by everyone doing everything online, you know, where even malls are hurting now. There needs to be a way to keep Main Street thriving and to bring people to Main Street. So the festival really is an engine in terms of getting people to come out over a weekend, getting them to go to restaurants, go out to eat with their friends in between screenings, because the screenings will take place all day, you know, getting them to see a town that they might not go to and experience their shops. What is unique about Teaneck? You know, using the businesses that are within our community, like our car services, you know, to transport, and bringing what the Chamber has done is brought all these different groups that are part of the Chamber of Commerce into the festival to get them involved, either to sponsor or to co-sponsor events, get nonprofits. Our festival works with a lot of nonprofits as well that have similar missions to us. So, you know, when we're working with the YWCA or the Lynx or the National Coalition of Black Women, each of those organizations have their particular missions, and we try to really fuse the two to help propel what they're doing and what we're doing and get all these audiences to come together. So I think that's why it's such a really brilliant idea, and you know, really puts a nice spotlight on the town. Where you say Teaneck International Film Festival, people know, and they've been there and they've traveled here from places far and wide. It's not, you know, just for Teaneck. People come from all over the world.
Talk about the politics. Not only politics nationally, but just politics in Teaneck. Teaneck is a very, very diverse town. We have different factions, we have different ideals, and we have different goals. One of the things we want to make sure that we do is we have people from all areas of Teaneck coming out and to vote in these elections. Not just for the presidential election. We have a gubernatorial election coming up. We have the primary next Tuesday, June 6th, and we're encouraging all people to come out and vote in that, because that determines who is going to be our Democratic candidate and a Republican candidate for the general election in November. So I think a lot of people just think that, you know, the presidential is important and the other ones are not important, but we have to remember that when you vote at the local level, those local level people are earning their way up to going to Congress and going to the Senate, and we want to have different people. We want to have younger people in there, so we have to get out and vote. We have to teach our young people to come out and vote and the importance of it. I am a poll worker in Hackensack, and I did a poll with people that were coming in. I saw all types of people, a lot of older people. So I polled about 6 people during the day, and I would just walk up to them and I would tell them, my name is Jackie Wilson, I'm one of the poll workers here. May I ask you a question, and may I ask you your age? And they would say yes. I would ask them why they came out to vote. And some of them said because they earned the right to vote, they're a citizen of this country, and it's their right and their duty to vote. So that to me was powerful. I asked that person how old they were, 84. I asked another person the same entire question, and they said because their grandchildren need to understand the importance of voting. He has 4 grandchildren, and they're from like 9 to 14 years old. And he said it's important for them to vote, and they have to see him voting so that they understand the importance of it. Some of them were there back 50 years ago when it was the civil rights era, and there was no rights to vote. So people feel very, very strongly about voting, and so do I. So I'm always out there telling people, go out and vote. And adding to my last thought, we need to be empowered to vote. Voting is a privilege, voting is a right, and when you do it, you feel exhilarated because you have actually put into the system as opposed to the system taken out from you. So when we vote, it's not just voting for a person to be in office, it's voting for our school system, it's voting for our elected officials, it's voting for our budgets, what services we can and we cannot have. If we don't vote, we don't get the opportunity to voice our opinion about anything. So I'm very, very passionate about that. And people should want to come out and vote and not leave it for somebody else.
Over the course of 12 years, we've had so many filmmakers come back and have new films that they submit. So they'll be brought out for one film, they'll be working on another film, and then when that's done, post-production, they'll come back out to do it. Or they'll have something that's meaningful for them. For example, this year we're launching a documentary short contest for Teaneck high school students where they can submit a 5-minute short that they film on their phone about something unique about Teaneck, or a doc about a resident of Teaneck that has inspired change. So the filmmaker who was involved with her screening of kind of initiating this, where it all came about when we told her we're going to launch this project with the support of the Teaneck schools, we asked her to come back, and she was so enthusiastic. She said, I'm going to come back and going to do a workshop with the students and work with them. So there's been so much year after year where the more people you get exposed to and the more films that are out there. I mean, we have filmmakers that year after year they're having their works in the festival. So that's really nice. We've been able to build some really good relationships.
That's Angela Logan's assistant. Angela Logan has reinvented her life, and she and her partner Melvin George had a financial crisis about 5 years ago with not making their mortgage. Their contractor walked out on them for some reason, and so she developed making these cakes and cupcakes to save her house. And recently, last year, in the wintertime, a biopic television program was created with her story. So she's a really hard-working woman with a lot of beauty, a lot of intelligence. It's Angela Logan's Mortgage Apple Cakes.
I was an only child. My mother didn't cook, okay? But I had the run of the kitchen. My mother was like, cook whatever you want to cook. I don't care if you burn it. I don't care what you do with it. And at 10 years old, by the time I was 14, I was able to cook a full dinner for my family. I did Thanksgiving dinner. My grandmother was a top chef. My grandfather was a chef on the Pennsylvania Railroad in the 1940s. He actually cooked for Winston Churchill, okay, overseas. My grandmother was a chef for wealthy families down on Park Avenue. And I, by the time I was 14, was an experienced cook. And what it did as an only child, it extended my family. I made friends with food, okay? And I've also been able to get employment. I am a private caterer. Okay, I've worked out in the Hamptons with very wealthy people, had a job at Bloomingdale's for 9.5 years as a culinary director. So I was able to take food and go with it and make money from it. And to this day, I'm here with Angela now, still working and making money with food. So for those of you who, if you haven't gone to college or if you have, but everyone likes to eat. There are 3 necessities in life, and that's food, clothing, and shelter. First one is food, okay? I recommend that if you have any passion for food and you're looking for a business, there are always opportunities in food. You can actually, restaurants close every 6 months. You can get cheap equipment, you can take your labor and put it to use, and you can start a business. So I say jump in the pool. Okay, if there's something you like, certainly you could give Angela a call. Angela would be willing to share what she went through. She's a school teacher, but she took a passion for food and it saved her home. So there's limitless, endless, there are no boundaries. If you got a cake, if you got a sauce, if you have some special technique that you'd like to share, and that's the thing about food too. You need to share. I don't believe in taking my gifts to the grave, so I share my recipes because I want someone else. I can't feed everybody, but if we're able to share our recipes and someone can make money with these recipes like Angela did, then it's about taking it to the next level. And I wish, Melvin, come on over here. Earlier, I mentioned to you about the movie, right? And I was telling you how successful Angela, the help that she got. And this is Melvin, who actually came on board, helped Angela. And as I told you, if you see the movie, she's now engaged to Melvin. Okay? So not only did we save a home, but we found love. So, I mean, Angela took it to the next level. Melvin is so supportive. As you see, he's here now to help us break down. Angela's off baking cakes and doing some things, but they work very well together as a team. And need I say more?
Well, there you have it, another episode of Meet the Farmer TV. This program is a production of Meet the Farmer TV, LLC, in association with Planet Earth Diversified, Melly Productions, and Leslie B. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design.
We're living in turbulent times, right? We don't know what's going on, you know, in terms of politics. We're in a nation that's very divided. So, you know, I think the festival has a responsibility to try to do whatever we can to, you know, bridge those gaps. And regardless of what your differences are, to be able to celebrate each other and get to know each other, you know, in a manner that's civil, which I think, you know, a lot of that is lacking now. And, you know, I just think that we continue to be a force in the community and to be a platform, right? A platform for artists to be able to have a voice for their work. And that's what's so important about TIFF, because year to year, we don't know, you know, what's going to happen and where, you know, artists are going to be funded or the NEA could disappear. So we want to stay there to make sure that there's always going to be a platform here in this community for these stories to be told and for people to have an audience and to be able to get their stuff out there, which is so critical, you know, I think in a thriving democracy.
We're at the Glen Point Marriott in Teaneck, and tonight we have restaurants from all over the area, mostly in Teaneck. It's an event called Taste of Teaneck. So all these restaurants, all different nationalities, all different types of food are giving us samples of their wonderful cuisine. And the people that come are buying tickets to arrive, and they're buying raffle tickets, and all the money raised is going for the Teaneck Rotary. What the Teaneck Rotary does is it gives out money, gives out scholarships, it spends on the community for good causes, the community and internationally at large. So every penny that we raise tonight will go back to our community.
This is my first time here at the Taste of Teaneck, and it's a wonderful, wonderful event. We have anything from spa treatments to hair treatments to manicures and pedicures to fabulous wines and liquors and delicacies to wet the palate. So welcome to the Taste of Teaneck, and go bid on a little bit of everything.
Each year, we always have a special event with the film festival. So, you know, in years past, there have been musical galas. For example, Tony Award winner Lillias White came out for 2 years and did a musical gala called, one year it was the Lillias White Effect, and she came out and did this thing with Tony Award winner Billy Stritch. And, you know, it was just a great event where we stop showing films and everyone comes out and gets to eat, drink, see a show, and kind of mingle. So there's always an event. Years prior, we did Cinema and Song with Vivian Sessoms and Clinton Daniel, which was all music from the movies. We had an 18-piece orchestra that accompanied them. Last year, we went back to film. So we kind of, you know, went back to our roots and did a centerpiece film gala on human trafficking, where we honored Valerie Huddle, our local assemblywoman, and had the Academy Award-winning director come out and speak on the film. And, you know, it was catered with wonderful food. So there's always, for $25 a person, if people donate in advance, they can get one ticket for whatever the centerpiece / gala will be, which is kind of the big event. And in addition to that, we also do an awards after the festival. We have a juried award, and we also have an audience award. So the audience votes each year, and then we tally those up. That's not done, though, until a few weeks after those are announced, because it takes us time to tally the votes, and, you know, then we notify everyone of the winners. So in the program, there is a slip, and the audience, after each film, is told to rate their film and then submit it when they leave the theater. So we tally all those results, and then we have several different categories. We have Best Feature, we have Audience Favorite, Best Documentary, Best Short, and then those winners get announced. And then we have our selection committee, which is our juried committee, determine the winners from their point of view. So it works really well. We have a closing night film, an opening night film, a centerpiece, and then the films run concurrently throughout the weekend. So people are encouraged to make a donation, so they are automatically going to be given a ticket to the centerpiece each year, which is always a great event, and support, you know, all the films over the weekend.
The best way to help is, the best way to find out about us, first of all, is go to teaneckrotary.com. That's teaneckrotary.com, and you'll find out all about the Rotary Club. And then if you're interested, you can come to a meeting. We meet every week. We meet on Wednesdays at 12:15. As a matter of fact, at Vitali's restaurant, which we're right next door. You give Vitali's a little shout out there. We meet at Vitali's restaurant every week. We have a phenomenal Italian lunch Wednesdays. keep on the lookout for all different events that we have, all different different things. We have what's called meet and greets, which are in the evenings if you can't make it for lunch. So there's always going to be something that you can do. And you'll find out how you can then give back to the community. We're about 25 strong. We have men and women of all different vocations, some retired and some professionals and others, people who work for the town and many other professions. And we just have a wonderful time being together. The camaraderie is wonderful. And we try to do business together, but mostly we just have a good time and we work together on events like this, and we collectively give back. The motto of Rotary is service above self, and that's what we do. We give our service to the greater cause.
The day the festival ends, I think we take 2 days off and then we're back to work. So it's a full year in the making. And much of what we do relies on the support of individuals and of our businesses, both corporate sponsors and Main Street sponsors. So each year we start from scratch, going back to those sponsors and hoping that they'll commit and come back. And then we start scouting our films as well. So what happens is filmmakers will submit on our website, teaneckfilmfestival.org. We have a link that says submit your film. The deadline entry is usually mid-July. Sometimes we make exceptions for late deadlines. So throughout the year, people are submitting films in addition to the submissions that come in through our site. We also are very active in scouting because we're so specific to what we want. We have film scouts that go all over the country and the world, for that matter, to other festivals representing Teaneck and scout films for us and make recommendations and make those connections to filmmakers. And then, of course, we have 12 years under our belt, so we have a lot of filmmakers that'll come to us now with new work that they'll want us to take a look at. So we have a selection committee, a group of volunteers that works tirelessly throughout the year and spends the time viewing all of these films. We screen well over 100+ films a year, and we're watching all of them and trying to cherry pick the very best. And then once the selections are determined, generally towards the early start of the fall, then we have to arrange our panels and make sure that we know who's coming to speak and that we have the representation to have an engaging panel discussion. And of course, funding. And that's our biggest thing, is making sure that we're supported and that people are supporting us, which they can do by going to our website. There's a support TIF tab and they can make a donation on there, and also making sure that businesses and nonprofits come on board and realize that this is a great business opportunity for them to showcase what they're doing and to be able to talk about their business, if they're sponsoring a film or if they're a major sponsor of the festival, having their logo throughout the red carpet, and also advertising and getting our stories out there, because we're not just one film, right? We're showcasing close to 30+ films over the course of a weekend. Each film is its own special story, and each film, warrants a feature on it. So we try to do our best to make sure that these stories get out there and that people know and have kind of a nice overview of what's going on over the weekend. And then, we present it, and then it's on to the next year.
One of the main things, since Rotary is an international organization, one of the causes that's been very near and dear to me is something called Gift of Life. Gift of Life is a program in which we bring children in from third world countries for heart operations, open heart surgery. And these are children that couldn't get operated on in their own country. And they come here, they live with a family while they're here, and then the area hospitals donate their services. We do pay $6,000 for the operation, but primarily it's donated, and we're saving children's lives. Locally, we support the food pantry. Believe it or not, people don't realize that there's a lot of hungry people even in prosperous Bergen County. So we give money back to we donate to the food pantry. We give out a lot of high school scholarships. We work very closely with Teaneck High School. They have what's called an Interact Club, which is the high school version of Rotary, and we give a lot of scholarships for them. We send them to a week-long leadership camp called RYLA, Rotary Youth Leadership Award. So we just do a lot, again, internationally and locally.
So they're all different levels of film sponsorship. We have major sponsors, we have film sponsors, depending on what the business budget is. But talking about, let's say someone wants to sponsor a film, so they would be behind the sponsoring of a particular film that's shown at the festival that weekend. They have, excuse me, the opportunity to then have a representative from their company speak before or after the film, have swag bags where they can have giveaways distributed. They have their logo that goes in the program. They get an ad. They get, advertising space on the website where they're listed as sponsors, and it aligns perfectly. So they have an opportunity to talk about what they're doing or their business is doing in their community. In many cases, we'll try to pair a film for them that relates to something that, relates better to their business. So it's a great opportunity for them to bring their people out and to expose themselves to an entirely new audience and to support a community effort, which looks great for businesses. People like to shop at businesses that know they're supporting the community and know that they're invested in this community. The thing you want to take away is realize the value of things that are in your community and make sure that you support them. Because you don't want to take things like the Teaneck Film Festival for granted. And if you continue to support us, it benefits your community, it benefits your kids, and it makes your town a better place to live.
The food pantry is Helping Hands Food Pantry. It's in Teaneck. It was started by a couple of local organizations, a synagogue and a church, and then Rotary has been very much involved from the beginning. And they give out food to people in need, low-income people who are in need of assistance. And we donate money and food throughout the year to help the cause.
Hi, I'm Janice from Helping Hands Food Pantry, and you're watching Meet the Farmer TV.
Next on Meet the Farmer TV, we'll connect the dots of a local food system from a food pantry perspective.
It was important to have members of the community be able to access fresh vegetables for everyone. So in preparing the garden, I met Reggie, and we decided that we would have a single plot, and we would dedicate that plot and all the vegetables that come from that plot to the Helping Hands Food Pantry of the Township of Teaneck.
Since the first seeds were planted, literally, it was always part of our mission that anything that grew here was going to go to the Helping Hand and other food pantries. That we have years of history of collecting food, food drives, canned goods, things like that.
Here we are at the Teaneck Community Gardens, where we grow food for the Helping Hands Food Pantry. Let me show you around. I'm going to show you first what my garden is. No, the Helping Hands Food Pantry garden. I call all of it mine. All right, okay. This is like a 16 by 16 plot. And there's 100 of them out here, from the farm to the plate. You've seen it grow. You know what it looks like, and you can smell it, and pretty soon you'll be able to taste it. My man, okay.
I think the most important thing about the festival is seeing that we affect change and we affect positive change. That's what makes it worth it. That's what makes us come back year after year to continue to want to do this, and that there's a need for this, right? There's a need for our festival in our community and for many people that aren't able to get out, right? A lot of our patrons aren't able to get into Manhattan or go to Lincoln Center on a regular basis to see the theater or see the film festivals. So this is something that they know they can access within their community, and many people look forward to that all year round where they're not having that opportunity. So, you know, I feel that there's also a responsibility on our part to be able to bring the arts here and be able to make sure that these stories are told. So that's really, I think, the critical, most important aspect of it. There's a huge wealth within this community of diversity, and the festival is so representative of that. So people, you know, in a certain way are being exposed to a lot of things that are new to them, and the festival is able to bring that, you know, right here in our community and be able to engage them with speakers from all over the world where they have an opportunity to learn about something new, be exposed to something that they didn't know about, and be introduced maybe to a neighbor that they never knew was even in their own community. So, you know, that's such a cool thing. It's such a great aspect.
People don't realize, obviously, there's the Center for Food Action and other, Eva's Kitchen, which are more lower income areas, but even in Teaneck, there's a lot of people that are down in their luck and they just need help. They need a square meal, and the Helping Hands Food Pantry helps them with that. One other thing that we've been very involved with, we have 2 members of our club from the country of Sierra Leone. And we're working now on an international project to provide solar panels for a school in Sierra Leone. It's actually the boarding home of the school, so children can come from the outer reaches of the. It's in Freetown, Sierra Leone, the capital, but the people can come from the outer. Young girls can come from the outer reaches to be able to be educated, to live there and be educated, and to be safe, because it's a tough area to grow up in. So that's another project that we in Teaneck involved with because of our partnership with people in Sierra Leone. So once again, first of all, I want to give a great big thanks to the Glen Point Marriott of Teaneck, which donated their ballroom to us to allow us to do this at a very inexpensive price, and all of the great restaurants in Teaneck that have provided their food. And this is our major fundraiser for the year. This money will go to scholarships, to projects in Sierra Leone, and so forth. But I strongly encourage everybody to go to our website, teaneckrotary.com, see what we're all about. Come visit, call the number that's on there, and find out what we do and how you can help us. This is a major event, as our other events. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and everything we do is hands-on. All volunteer, so we can always use help. Anything you can do, we'll gladly accept your help.
We are thrilled today to have the Teaneck Community Cars, Steve Bell, Artistic Director.
to everybody. Taste of Teaneck. Try it out.
Fishing through my thoughts. Fishing with no rod. Fishing for a dad. Wishing to the world. I hold enough coins in my hand. Tell me what happens when your superhero dies, Dad. Tell me what happens. Thank you.
So the Earth Day event today is hosted by the Green Team on campus as well as the Green Campus Committee. So basically Earth Day was on the 22nd, but since it was on a weekend, we had it on a Wednesday, and we have it almost every last Wednesday on April. All the plants that we see here today are grown in our local greenhouse on campus. So these are all grown by the lovely Morgan Issa. And they're all here for sale. They're at a great price, and they're all organic. Later on today, we'll be having the Student Symposium on Earth Day on this campus at the Giovanni Library Auditorium at 5:30. The symposium will cover a variety of sustainability topics.
A lot of people don't realize the damage that they're doing to the planet, and we only have one place to live. So once we destroy this place, we don't have a place to go to. We can't just pick up and move to Mars. It doesn't work that way. The students that are around here don't understand that, like, even just the basic littering, that you can see it by the river all the time, it actually does end up going into the water. It's choking the animals. It's doing a lot of damage that a lot of people don't think about when they go, I don't want to hold on to this candy wrapper anymore, and drop it. But in general, it's because we have a huge footprint that's being placed on the planet, and it's by a lot of the major first world countries. So we are a first world country. We need to stop. Earth Day is important because it reminds people of the little things like this. It might be considered a little bit archaic to some because we have technology, but at the end of the day, without events where you can just talk to people, what are we really gaining anymore? Hopefully when you walk away from this event today, you understand that you're not alone if you want to start to care. And there are people on campus, and not only on campus, but everywhere. We had people just from the community come in. And really what you see is that there's a lot of different ways to actually just start decreasing. And it's not huge things. Start recycling, have a house plant. Things like that. People don't realize how much the little things are actually adding up.
Today we're celebrating Earth Day by asking participants to pledge a green activity or a green action that they can keep in mind all year round. Many habits are hard to take up, and so we're asking students and faculty to consider simple habits such as getting more sleep or meditating at home, socializing at home. These are all actions that we can take that will reduce energy because we don't need to travel or use gasoline or extra electricity when we're staying still. So we're taking a look at different activities that you can do that don't require energy use that also promote personal wellness. So things that come in line with personal wellness, such as getting extra sleep, has psychological benefits, meditation, volunteer work, these all have psychological benefits, social benefits, that can also contribute to lower footprints. And so that's what we're asking people to think about and consider when they write a pledge. So right now we have recycled strips of paper from our office with different pledges written from the participants. On the table we have some information about how we can reduce usage, and we also have our reusable bags that we often give out to our students. And so this is our program's motto, make your positive mark on the world. We try to do that through the personal actions and also creating awareness. Our program likes to focus on the global scope of things internationally, and so I think that Earth Day in the United States, many people understand what it means to be green and those practices. They see the signs, they know that they should recycle, but they don't realize the impact that we can truly have when we reduce our usage in America. And I think that students at the college level are finally participating on their own and making choices for themselves, and they should be aware that their choices do matter and they can have a positive impact on the environment by making simple decisions like using a reusable bottle of water or carpooling to class, walking to class, taking a bus, riding their bikes. And just knowing that they can contribute in small ways, that every small action does help the planet overall.
Yes, hi. So I'm Katie Fessiano. I'm representing the Same May Foundation today. And we're here at Earth Day because the more people that we introduce Same May to, Same May can take away pain that needs painkillers, morphine even, and the less medicines that people are popping in their mouths, the less pollution that goes into our waterways, goes into our soil, goes into the food that we grow. And we're going to be making a better world when we can have more Seimei and less medicines to have to mitigate that pain. Personally, Earth Day is really important because I have children and I want my children to grow up in a world that's healthier than it is today. We need to do better taking care of our Earth and just paying it forward.
Earth Day is important to me because we have to sustain the environment we live in. The original tobacco leaf, smoked by the American Indians, we tried to do a representation, a peace pipe, little arrow I made, some natural tobacco that would be used for cigars. This tobacco is rather benign. It has nicotine and tar. Those are the two, that would be about the most toxic ingredients in it. Cigarette companies, they have to make cigarettes addictive. So they add 599 different additives, including carbon monoxide, hexene, toluene, arsenic, methane, stearic acid, butane. I could go down the list. These are some of the worst. These are all carcinogens. They will kill you immediately. What happens also when the cigarette is lit, those 600 chemicals turn into 4,000 different chemicals through just the act of being lit. It's a chemical change, and I mean, you're playing Russian roulette with just regular natural tobacco. So this is just, you understand what's going to happen. We have genetic damage from the cigarettes also because we have a gene called P53. P53, when it's damaged, P53 is basically, it guards us from cancer. It guards us from cancer. And when you're not guarded from cancer, you'll get cancer. That's it. Your body has to have a regulation system to guard from cancer. And the P53 will be damaged, and you will develop tumors and lung cancer from that. And tobacco companies are actually adding more chemicals now than ever to make us more addicted. People throw tobacco butts on the ground after they're done. Those tobacco butts have cancerous chemicals in them that dogs will eat, cats will eat, and unfortunately children will chew on too. So there is definitely a problem in the environment. And tobacco smoke, obviously secondhand smoke, is very dangerous. And the damage to your cells, to your genetic, it also damages your genetic line. Your children can be damaged later. People, they're just finding this out right now, that when you smoke, it modifies your genes, and those genes are passed to your prodigy. So unfortunately, we're killing our generations ahead of us by smoking. And environmentally, it's terrible, but also genetically. By regulating tobacco companies, they would have to pay a tax for the pollution they're causing. They're not paying a tax. They're paying a maximum of $25,000 a day. They make $1 billion a day, so it's not a fair. They should be paying $1 million a day just for the damage they're doing to the environment. And people who sell cigarettes, it's hard to say. You're socially, economically hurting people, possibly. I would worry about the big companies first, and then leave the small guys. Everything will get regulated from there. It's dirty money, but I think they should donate more dirty money, because dirty money is still money, and that money can be used for education, for raising people's awareness of tobacco, can also clean the environment. They should be donating $1 million a day, and right now they're $25,000 a day is what Congress has mandated, and that's a very low figure. That's like you and I giving 10 cents of our day. That's nothing. They have to pay for what they're doing, and they're still going to make a profit. They make $1 billion a day, so if they pay $1 million a day, there's a little difference. They make good money. So everyone should respect their environment. Everyone should respect the people in their environment, and by doing that, we'll have a happier world, and hopefully that will happen one day.
As we see the title of our poster, like the impact of human evolution on the nature. So this is very concerning and significant as per the Earth Day. The early humans, or we call our ancestors, they used to, the main source of food was the hunting and killing of the animals. Eventually, our humans earlier, they settled down nearby the riverbeds or the rainforest. because it is easy to kill the fish or catch the fish rather than killing the mammoth and monster mammals. So somehow they are settled down nearby the river beds. Then after that, there all the early river civilization happens in different time era. Like we had like Indus Valley, second one is Norte, third one is ancient Egypt civilization, and fourth one is Mesopotamia. So after that, in that civilization, the human get flourish. They had a colony and they flourished. They take the water sources from the nearby the river, and they started also the farming. After that, this is how done. Then after that, what's the impact of the evolution and living colonization nearby the river? Deforestation, because humans, they continuously cutting down the forest and the trees nearby the river. So this is how the once you cut down the trees, so it's losing the the impact of the soils. So your soils becomes becomes non-integrated. So this is how the landslides takes place when flooding takes place. This is a picture of the flood in Kedarnath in India. This is how the human colonizing in the valley in the Himalayas. So it is a classic example of the deforestation. So this is how the landslides place, and this one is a picture of the Chinese landslides. So because of that, I think the thousands of people die, and if we account in the 50 years, almost many people died because of to destroy the nature and living in the nature nearby the river. It's started by yourself only. Don't pollute the nature. Make a neat and clean. Be hygienic and make the hygienic clean your surroundings. So this is how it accounts more, because once you started, so definitely impact on the others also. So somehow you can clean or dirt free your ambience. This one is, I think this is one thing, but it's a short step, but it's very major in the larger context.
So what I love about Earth Day is that we are able to celebrate our planet. All of us here are fortunate enough to live on a planet where we have all our resources, but future generations might not be able to get that luxury. What we're doing today is a project for our class, and we're promoting keeping the waters clean. And what we're going to do today is clean the Hackensack River with the Hackensack River Keeper.
We're cleaning along the riverbank, and picking up garbage, anything that doesn't belong alongside all this.
I think Earth Day and the environment are important to us as a group of students, is because lately the news has been undermining it due to politics and all that other stuff. So I think if we can at least give back one day where we can clean the river and tell all the other students about us and about the environment, I think it's something we can do at least.
All the names of the helpers that are helping out today that are affiliated, and then their organizations that they participate with on campus.
Earth Day is important to me because there are so many things that we take for granted every day that we don't know about. So staying here for a couple hours to just give back can make all the difference. Just little things that can make the difference.
I think Earth Day is really important to us because it's a day of renewal, and we are here today to raise awareness and inspire other people to be great citizens for our world.
Today is a day where we can actually do something. We can give back. We can clean the rivers, we can pick up trash, we can spread awareness on the importance of going green and being clean.
Here at this table, we're promoting Oceana, which is a nonprofit organization that promotes clean waterways and cleaning the ocean. So a lot of times we take waterways for granted and the marine life, which is declining rapidly. And also in other areas on land, we also take pollinators for granted, like butterflies and bees, and their population is declining rapidly as well. We need to make sure that we plant more crops that foster the population of bees and butterflies so that they can continue to pollinate our crops so we have food and we're not relying on genetically modified plants and vegetables.
We had to choose a topic, so we decided to go with food waste and look up some fun facts about food waste and around the world and also in the United States, and just try to find a way to sustain it, because that's what the class is called, sustainability. So we chose food waste and we found some great facts about it. We actually found out that 40% of food that's produced for the United States is actually thrown out and wasted. And we looked up top 5 countries in the world that have food waste, with the United States being number 1. And with all the fun facts that we found, we gave some suggestions on how the United States can probably bring down the amount of food waste that's used here in this country. One of our group members, his name is Dondre. He's not here, unfortunately, but we actually didn't know he knew how to draw. So he did a couple apples, he did some pictures, looked some pictures online. And we searched up some fun facts about food waste in the United States, and here is actually our suggestion as to what should the United States do to bring down food waste. And it was based off of right here. This is kind of France against the United States when it comes to food waste. France has done a great job at bringing down their food waste level with new laws that they passed on bringing down food waste. And as I mentioned earlier, here is the top 5 countries in the world that are on food waste. One thing that America could do that's not on the poster is really the people. A lot of citizens, they do go to supermarkets. Even my parents do it sometimes, where we buy more than we should, and we're always overbuying. And I think if we choose to just go to supermarkets, go to grocery stores, and just choose the right amount that's gonna keep us fed and everything, it could help bring down the food waste level, including the law that we have here that France actually did. But off of that's not on the poster, what I think we should do as people is just sustain how much food we actually buy and consume. I also feel that a lot of people in the United States, they're not aware of the amount of food waste in the United States. I feel like these are one of those things that are really thrown under the bus. Here in America, there's other things that people find more important, like what great TV show is on or things of that sort, and they're not aware as to, including like air pollution here, also pollution, but food waste is under that category as well. I feel like people should be more aware as to, hey, these supermarkets, these grocery stores are actually throwing out a lot of food, and there's a lot of people in the United States that are homeless, don't have food, don't have enough money to buy food, and are struggling. And I feel that people in the United States should be more aware about this issue. So one of the places that us FDU students can engage more on these topics and these issues, we can create group chats, we can create group discussions. There are a lot of groups in LinkedIn that are with alumni and with current students on professionalism. We could build one about sustainability and about the environment. There's also a lot of social media accounts that FDU has and that they run. Like for one of them, which is always talking about what's going on in FDU, is at FDU What's New. So it's something like that, I believe. And from there, they put up any current things that are happening around FDU. So I think this would definitely be on there today, possibly. So there you go.
My focus as the campus dietitian is to help students explore
and enjoy new foods to expand their nutrition, not only their taste palette, but expand their knowledge, nutrition, their ability to try new things. I tell them they're here at school to expand their knowledge, and they should be expanding their palate and their tastes at the same time. So my function is to help them do that. For healthy people, that's what we focus on. For people with allergies or certain illnesses, I work with them to make sure that they're getting all the nutrients and having a fulfilling dining experience in the dining hall or wherever they're eating on campus, so we can make sure they're fueling their campus experience well. Well, what I'm doing today with the students is practicing very hyper-local food by teaching them to grow their own basil plants. So they can come to me and we'll talk about how to grow it even in a windowsill in a dorm room. That's totally applicable to this situation. All you need is a sunny window and a little bit of know-how. And keeping food local is the first way to reduce your carbon footprint. The second thing I'm working on today is making sure that we do that sustainably. And for the starving college student, the best way to do that is to incorporate more beans. Not only is it healthy, but you can get them on the cheap. So they're a good way to get more fiber, protein. The CO2 emissions from beans are so much less than chicken or beef. So we talk about that and how to incorporate beans in every sort of thing. So the current USDA recommendations are revised for 2015. And so those are really increasing the plant-based parts of your plate altogether, making sure you're getting at least 2 servings of veggies at every meal, including fresh local fruits or frozen fruits or canned fruits and whatever you can. And overall limiting the amount of sodium and fat that you're adding, unhealthy fats that is anyway. And so by getting more plant-based diet and using more herbs like we're talking about today, you're able to do meet those guidelines fairly easily. We do meatless Mondays at our school, trying to emphasize people's ability to switch out for higher sustainability for the meats that are going to have a higher CO2 emission and just be a bigger drain on the planet's resources. I teach them how to cook in the dining rooms, making sure they understand to use the wok or put healthy items into a stir fry or an omelet, or how to even build a great salad at the salad bar using sustainable items and going meat-free as often as possible, but also balancing your proteins, your whole grains, and your vegetables and fruits. I think it's important for them to understand the places that their food comes from, that they can get really fantastic local foods by joining a CSA, which is a community-supported agriculture. They can shop local at their local markets. The biggest complaint I get as a dietitian is people say that healthy food is too expensive. But if you're buying in season, that's going to be the item that's the least expensive. So it kind of negates that argument. So buying what's local, what's on sale is usually going to be what's in season. And if you don't find that, finding it either dried or frozen or canned can also be a good option sometimes. So each month I try to bring relevant scientific evidence and research to the students' plates. So in September, when we get a whole batch of new students and returning students, one of the things I do is focus on avoiding the so-called freshman 15. We do that by talking about how to build a healthy plate, but also how to enjoy the food that you're tasting. One of the things we do that is by tasting seasonal apples. There's over 5,000 different kinds of apples, but as Americans, we only consume about 15, and so that really reduces the crop biodiversity. But also people aren't adventurous in buying new apples. I have a funny story that one time at another college, I had a student come up to me who was absolutely in love with an apple they were sampling that I had given them, and they thought it was named after the computer. And I said, "What do you mean?" They said, Macintosh, like the computer. I said, "No, the computer is named after the apple." But this student had lived 20-something years and had never had a Macintosh apple, which to me would seem implausible, but they were very serious. And it goes to show you that not everyone has the experience to fresh local foods, and they think that their only apple choice is a red or a green, and there's so many more. So that really goes to helping them taste and enjoy before I tell them what kind of apple they picked. Because a lot of times people will pick a smushy apple and think, oh, I don't like apples. But they could be eating it out of season, or they could not like soft apples. Maybe they like it tart, maybe they like it less sweet or more sweet. So it's really about enjoying what's seasonally local available and seeking out better choices. I love the idea of encouraging students to eat more local foods. Not only does it help them better support local agriculture, which helps the farmers support themselves. If you have a strong farm, you will have a strong agriculture system, which means better delivery to all areas in your area. It means less trucking, less refrigeration. It means that there's less time that your food has to come from the fields. If you take the example of choosing tomatoes from Florida, they're grown and picked rock hard, so they don't have time to sun ripen. So you're not getting that flavor profile. You're not enjoying the deliciousness that a Jersey tomato can be right out of your garden. So if you can choose something like that, it makes a big difference. If you're eating seasonal and local, you're able to better support a farmer who can better flourish your plate a little bit with more nourishing foods and more delicious foods. The best idea is to grow some yourself, where you can grow it on a windowsill, you can grow it on a deck, on a stoop, you could grow it pretty much anywhere. You can grow it vertically. They have a fish tank over there where you can grow herbs and wheatgrass on top of the fish tank, so there's really no reason that you couldn't even start small with herbs. Like today we're planting basil, so it's easy to grow. It grows in a container. There's lots of stuff if you get the right mix and educate yourself that it's just easy to do. So what you're looking at now are the dirt pellets. It's an easy way to travel, especially if you don't have a car, to travel with some gardening supplies in your back pocket. I carry the dirt in those, and then they rehydrate to look like that. So then it just pops up to look like that. You can see the size. It's just compressed dirt, and when you add a little water and a little seed, then within 2 weeks we'll start to have some microgreens coming out of that. A pack of 36 dirt pods was probably around $3 at my local box store. I'm sure you could order them on Amazon.com, yeah, or any gardening supply like Young, or which is Jung, also Burpee. And there's Seeds of Change, which is an organic seed bank. So there's lots of choices there too. We're looking to make sure that students look at the state of their plate and understand that even if they are eating their vegetables, buying local might be the next step, or growing their own might be the next step. So there's always another step that you can take to make sure that not only is your nutrition improving, but your eco-friendliness is improving. And so that's what we're really looking to do, is make sure that people are evaluating the state of their plate and taking another step forward at this time. And they're welcome to come to me, and I can give them a little checkup. So students are welcome to make an appointment with me, Jennifer Bastido, at Bastido at gourmetdiningllc.com if they're interested in improving the state of their plate.
Earth Day is not meant to be celebrated on one day. We should be practicing clean acts throughout the whole year. Just like people say Mother's Day shouldn't be one day of the year, Earth Day should not be one day of the year. We should be doing things to benefit our planet every day of the year.
Every day should be Earth Day.
Arts are in jeopardy now, right? There's a big proposal that the National Endowment of the Arts could be eliminated. With that also goes public television, which is so important to nonprofits like the Teaneck Film Festival. So we're trying to show those films, you know, relating to art, relating to freedom of speech, you know, whether it's a documentary about a dancer and the impact that they've had through their dance on, you know, a social cause, or whether it's a film, an animated feature that we do for the little kids, you know, ages 2 to 6, to have an opportunity to be exposed to international animated shorts, where Bob McGrath from Sesame Street comes every year. These are things that need to continue. These are the types of programming that we're working towards, and also being able to talk about all the issues, even if, you know, they're not always talked about in the mainstream. We want to talk about it.